In the sprawling, neon-lit labyrinth of 1970s Hong Kong, a city of contrasts where colonial elegance met gritty back alleys, one name was whispered with a mix of fear and respect. Four-Eyed Kei. This wasn't just any name. It was the call sign of the man who led the formidable Yi character branch of the 14K, a triad that had its roots deep in the city's history. But who was this man, whose real name was Chan Ki? Was he just another gangster, or something more? Let's uncover the story of the man they called the Impenetrable boss. Born in 1935 in Guangzhou, Chan Kai-kit's early life was shaped by the turbulent currents of 20th century China. Like many of his generation, he sought a new beginning in Hong Kong, arriving in the city with little more than ambition in his pockets. The Hong Kongs he entered was a land of opportunity, but also a place where survival often meant navigating a complex world of street-level power structures. Yan Chan was sharp, resourceful, and he quickly found his footing, not in the gleaming towers of commerce, but in the shadowy world of the He joined the 14K, an organization with a complex history stretching back to the mainland. The 14K wasn't just a criminal gang. It was a sprawling network with its own codes, loyalties, and internal politics. Chan Kai-kit, with his keen intellect and natural leadership, rose through the ranks with astonishing speed. He became known as Four-Eyed Kei due to his signature spectacles, a feature that belied the fierce strategists behind them. He took control of the Yi character branch, one of the most powerful factions within the 14K, and established his stronghold in the bustling heart of Mongkok. Under his command, Mongkok became his kingdom. From Portland Street to Shanghai Street, his influence was undeniable. He didn't rule with brute force alone. That wasn't his style. Four-Eyed Kei was a master of diplomacy and strategy. He understood that true power wasn't just about controlling territory. It was about controlling the flow of money and information. His operations were sophisticated, spanning everything from entertainment venues to Mahyungpa. He was a businessman as much as a boss, turning his influence into a lucrative empire. But what truly set him apart was his reputation for being impenetrable. This wasn't just about physical security. It was about his cunning. The Royal Hong Kong Police Force, particularly the Organized Crime and Triad Bureau OCTB, saw him as a top-tier target. They launched countless investigations, dedicating immense resources to dismantling his network. They tried surveillance, undercover operations, and informant networks. But Four-Eyed Kei always seemed to be one step ahead. It was like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. He was notoriously difficult to pin down, rarely leaving a paper trail or a direct link to any illicit activities. His ability to evade the law became legendary. Stories circulated about his network of lookouts, his uncanny ability to sense a trap, and his meticulous planning. He was a ghost in the system, a powerful figure who operated in plain sight yet remained untouchable. This earned him the respect of his followers and the frustration of law enforcement. He was the ultimate chess master in a citywide game of cat and mouse, while other triad leaders of his era rose and fell, often in a blaze of glory or a hail of bullets. Four-Eyed Kei maintained his position through sheer intellect. He wasn't a flamboyant figure who courted the spotlight. On the contrary, he maintained a low profile, understanding that anonymity was his greatest asset. He was a family man, and despite the world he moved in, he tried to shield his loved ones from the dangers of his life. This duality is fascinating: the ruthless strategist who commanded a powerful triad branch, and the private individual who valued his family above all else. It paints a picture of a man far more complex than the simple gangster label would suggest. However, the winds of change were blowing across Hong Kong. As the 1980s dawned, the city's authorities intensified their crackdown on organized crime. The era of the untouchable triad bosses was slowly coming to an end. The social and political landscape was shifting, and the old ways of the Jianghu were being challenged by a more modern, structured form of law and order. Even the most impenetrable fortress eventually shows a crack. For Four-Eyed Kei, the turning point came not from a dramatic police raid, but from within his own organization. In the world of triads, loyalty is paramount, but betrayal is always a possibility. An internal conflict, a dispute over territory or resources, led to an informant providing the police with the breakthrough they had been waiting for years. The impenetrable wall had been breached from the inside. In 1985, after a decade of eluding capture, the law finally caught up with Four-Eyed Kei. His arrest sent shockwaves through the underworld. The man who was thought to be untouchable was finally brought to justice. He was charged and subsequently sentenced to a significant prison term. The era of Four-Eyed Kei, the king of Mongkok, had come to an end. His imprisonment marked a symbolic victory for the police and a major shift in the power dynamics of Hong Kong's triads. The 14K, though still a powerful force, had lost one of its most brilliant and elusive leaders. After his release, Chan Kai-kit stepped away from the life that had defined him. He had paid his debt to society and chose a path of peace and quiet. He became a legitimate businessman, investing in ventures on the mainland and severing his ties with his past. He passed away in 2010, not in a hail of gunfire, but as an elderly man surrounded by his family. His funeral was a quiet affair, a stark contrast to the grand, triad-style send-offs often seen for figures of his stature. It was the final, understated chapter in a life of high-stakes drama. The story of Four-Eyed Kei is more than just a crime story. It's a window into a specific time and place in Hong Kong's history. It's about the interplay of power, loyalty, and betrayal in a city undergoing massive transformation. Chan Kai-kit was a product of his time, a brilliant strategist who mastered the rules of a dangerous game. His life reminds us that history is often written in shades of gray, and the figures who shape it are rarely simple, heroes or villains. They are complex individuals, navigating the world they were given with the tools they possessed. Four-Eyed Kei's legacy is a testament to a bygone era, a time when a man with a sharp mind and a pair of glasses could rule a kingdom from the shadows of Mongkok's crowded streets. His story is a permanent part of the rich, complex tapestry of Hong Kong. Thank you for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the hidden corners of history. See you next time. Chan Qinghua, respectfully known in the underworld as Tika, an honorific akin to Big Brother, was one of the most powerful and influential figures in the history of the 14K Triad. Nicknamed the Second Marshal, he was not only a crime boss but also a shrewd negotiator whose diplomacy reshaped the balance of power in Hong Kong and Macau for decades. One from police officer to Second Marshal, Chan Qinghua's background was unusual. He once served on the police force, holding a frontline mid-ranking position. He later joined 14K and became part of the Li Si pair, a subunit within the organization. His close relationship with 14K's founding dragonhead, Kotsi 1, Kats 3, U-O, NG, smootheth his rise through their ranks. There were even rumors that he was either the illegitimate son of or adopted by Kot's third wife. What set Chan apart was his sharp intelligence, especially his ability to read situations, assess risk, and communicate with tact. With a wide network that spanned both the black and white worlds, the underworld, and the legitimate sphere, he quickly became the power center of 14K's John Tishi's pair, handling organizational affairs for Kat Siwong and acting as the Dragonhead's trusted right hand. Within the society, he was addressed as the Yan Marshal, consolidating power and expanding territory when Dragonhead Katsia Wong died suddenly in 14K faced a leadership vacuum. They are apparent Gochun, Gachiache, NG, who assumed the Dragonhead title, showed little interest in day-to-day affairs. It was Chan Qinghua, Tika, who stepped into the breach, becoming the Second Marshal and the highest-ranking leader among 14K's foremost men. Under his watch, 14K faced encroachment from rival groups, especially the Viet Dong Gungaran, Shekawai, Aisha. Chan adopted a decisive strategy, one heavy strike to prevent 100 more. He ordered key lieutenants including Dai, Tidong, and Chan Jungjing to mount a major offensive. The battle ended in a sweeping 14K victory. The Viet Dong Gung collapsed, and the area fell entirely under 14K control, sending shockwaves through the underworld. Over the next 3 years, 14K did not wither. It flourished across Hong Kong under Chan's direction. Many of his protégés later became marquee bosses in their own right, including Chun Wei Min, Tor, N.A., N.A., called Double Flower Red Pole and Big Brother U. 3. The kingmaker behind Macau. Sei Casino Umpia. Chan Qinghua's most famous public role was as the kingmaker who helped create Macau. Sei Casino Kin, Stanley, Oache, Ache, Engese, Ene. After Ho secured the exclusive casino concession in Macau, he immediately faced pressure from entrenched old guard families, such as Fu Lo-wing and Ojin, Cao Kai-ech, Nin. Matters escalated to the point where Ho's life was threatened and he fled to Hong Kong. At his most desperate moment, he turned to Chan Qinghua. After a private discussion, Tico agreed to intervene decisively. He dispatched his 5 most trusted Tiger generals, Yutish, Chen, Weimin, Hua, Liu Wei, Sabin, and Kaio Faitu, escort Stanley Ho safely back to Macau. More importantly, Chan personally approached Ho Yin to negotiate. Concerned about 14K's formidable power, Ho Yin yielded ground. Chan's timely and forceful mediation swept aside the old gambling establishment's resistance, enabling Stanley Ho to consolidate his position and ascend as Macau's undisputed casino king. Years later, in gratitude, Hu named one of his gambling boats after Chan Qinghua for supreme fixer and public respect. Even after gradually stepping back from frontline affairs in the early 1980s, Chan remained the supreme fixer for major 14K issues. One emblematic case was the high-stakes standoff with the Sun Ye on Triad Tenjia after Salong Tilong, Song Yi-on's chief instructor, assaulted Chun Huimin and caused the miscarriage of his prodigious wife. The situation threatened to explode into a bloody war between 2 major syndicates. Sun Yan's Dragonhead, Hyunghwa Ime, Yuen Hovim, personally sought out Chan Qinghua to negotiate. In a tense meeting, Chan balked by his prestige and his duty to protect his men secured terms that diffused the crisis. Solong would host a public banquet to apologize and pay substantial compensation to Chun Huimin. The settlement showcased Tico's supreme authority and his ability to resolve conflicts rationally and without bloodshed. Chan was also widely respected for helping people in distress whether or not they belonged to the underworld. This generosity earned him esteem in both the black and white communities. 5. Legacy and the funeral of a legend by the mid-1990s. Even in his 70s, and still prominent in the underworld, Chan remained nostalgic about his police years. He founded the Association of Former Deputy-Grade Staff, later renamed the Founders and Retired Deputy-Grade Collies Association, and kept it active to this day. Chan Qinghua passed away in 2021 at the age of 98. His funeral at Pufuk, Chan and Xiaotin drew more than 500 prominent figures from both the criminal underworld and the legitimate world. An exceedingly rare spectacle. The ultimate symbol of status at the ceremony was the presence of 3 white mourning lions, a ritual reserved for only the highest-ranked figures in the clandestine sphere. Chun Huimin's most famous protégé from that Chan Qinghua had been 14 Miles, most senior figure for many years. His life reads like a chronicle of power, diplomacy, and influence, marking a golden era of the Hong Kong-Macau underworld before it yielded to a modern society governed by the rule of law. A harsh childhood and the path to martial arts. Yik Chung was born in 1932 into a poor farming family in Guangdong. His childhood was marked by chaos, famine, and war. Tragedy struck when he was only 13 years old. Both his father and mother died from a combination of disease and starvation. Left alone in a turbulent world, the young Yik Chung was forced to bury his parents with his own hands. Carrying nothing more than a few belongings and an iron will, he set out on a perilous journey to Hong Kong in search of relatives. Resourceful beyond his years, he slipped into a crowd at the Zhongying checkpoint, held the hand of an old woman as if she were his grandmother, and managed to evade border inspectors to enter Hong Kong. Once there, Yik Chung was taken in by relatives and began working as a waiter to survive. At the time, Hong Kong was a chaotic place. Gangs ruled the streets, turf wars erupted regularly, and martial arts schools flourished as young men sought to protect themselves. Fascinated by the street fights he witnessed, Yik Chung saved up his meager earnings to enroll in a Hung Gar school. He possessed a natural talent for combat. He quickly mastered the powerful, iron-bodied techniques of Hung Gar, and also learned the fluid, deceptive snake style. By blending hard and soft styles, he developed a formidable, well-rounded skill set. Within a few years, his abilities were so advanced that he could take on a dozen men at once without backing down. Joining the 14K Triad and becoming Crazy Old Chung through underground martial arts match, Yik Chung befriended several members of the notorious 14K Triad. With their recommendation, he officially joined the organization and became a disciple of Oman, one of 14K founding elders, aligning himself with the orthodox filial Double Daggers faction. From the moment he joined, Yik Chung stood out as a fearless and violent enforcer. He always led the charge in gang brawls, showing no mercy and often breaking his opponent's arms or legs. His ferocity earned him both fear and respect among enemies and comrades alike. His name became legendary after a brutal turf war in the antique district of Hong Kong. With only 8 followers, Yik Chung faced off against more than 30 thugs from the rival Sei Ngaan Triad. Though outnumbered, he smashed a storefront window, grabbed a jagged shard of glass, and charged into the fray like a madman. He slashed and struck with such intensity that many of his enemies were severely injured or fled in panic. From that day on, the underworld gave him a fearsome nickname, Lao Chung, the Mad, Crazy Old Chung. Thanks to his unmatched fighting ability, Yik Chung quickly earned the trust of Oman. He was put in charge of the Washington Theater, a gold mine at the time, where illegal gambling, ticket scalping, and protection rackets flourished. He guarded this territory fiercely, once chasing down more than 10 troublemakers with a broadsword in hand. His influence grew rapidly. He expanded his control into the Mati district and took over the famous Temple Street, one of Hong Kong's most lucrative and dangerous zones. His string of victories earned him the rank of Double Flower Red Pole, a prestigious position reserved for the most elite fighters in 14K, second only to the Dragon Head and Combat Authority. A fateful turning point and the escape to the Netherlands. By 1973, Yik Chung was at the height of his power. Looking to expand further, he set his sights on the Wan Chai Bay area hotbed, controlled by the Wo Hop 2 gang. When tensions boiled over, Yik Chung didn't negotiate. He slapped the rival gang boss across the face, sent his men scattering, and seized the area. The Wo Hop 2 boss later returned with reinforcements to avenge the humiliation, but Yik Chung crushed them again. To drive his point home, he chased the gang leader with a broadsword through the streets. Terrified, the man fled into the Jin Yan Chiang guest house, but Yik Chung pursued him upstairs to the 2nd floor. Cornered and panicking, the rival boss jumped out the window to his death. The violent death triggered a massive police investigation. Realizing he couldn't escape blame, Yik Chung used his money and reputation to find someone to take the fall. A young follower named Lung Wing Sang was chosen by lot to be the scapegoat. Yik Chung promised him a light sentence of 2 to 3 years. However, the trial took a devastating turn. Luang was sentenced to life in prison. Overwhelmed with fear, Luang confessed the entire scheme, implicating Yik Chung as the true killer. Upon hearing this, Yik Chung acted fast. He fled Hong Kong and escaped to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. The godfather of Holland era, upon arriving in Amsterdam, Yik Chung reunited with his martial arts senior, Chan Yuen Mo, who led the 14K faction in the city's Chinatown. At time, Chinatown was divided between Chan's 14K and a vicious local gang called Akung Tongik. Zheng's arrival changed everything. Instead of negotiating or maneuvering politically, he went straight to war. He assembled a small team, armed them with a K-47 SA, and launched a surprise assault on Akung Tong's headquarters. The rival gang was caught off guard and overwhelmed. After defeating their fighters, Yik Chung personally stormed the main stronghold and destroyed their base of operations. In one swift and brutal move, he seized control of Amsterdam's Chinatown. Under his leadership, 14K dominated every aspect of the underground economy: gambling dens, brothels, and large-scale heroin trafficking. His power spread across the Netherlands, controlling more than half of the country's underworld. The criminal community began calling him the Godfather of Holland. His authority became so absolute that in 1976, when Hong Kong martial arts star and fellow Double Flower Red Pole, Chan Wai Man brought his film crew to Amsterdam, he had to pay a hefty protection fee to operate in Yik Chung's territory. No one dared to challenge him. Prison, old age, and death later that same year. 1976, Yik Chung's past caught up with him. He was extradited back to Hong Kong to face justice for the murder years earlier. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and spent the next 23 years behind bars. In 2002, due to good behavior and his advanced age, he was finally released. Unlike his younger days of blood and glory, Yik Chung lived quietly after his release. In 2014, he celebrated his 82nd birthday with a lavish banquet that brought together some of the most powerful figures of the Asian underworld. Among the guests were Maka, Godfather Bing, Njie Ku, and Chan Wyman himself. Everyone in attendance showed deference to the once feared legend. In 2021, after a lifetime of violence, power, and survival, Yik Chung passed away from complications related to the COVID-19 pandemic. His funeral was grand and steeped in Triad tradition. According to Hongman customs, only individuals of the highest rank and moral stature are honored with a ritual featuring 3 white dancing lines, a symbol of ultimate respect. Yik Chung received this rare tribute. Representatives from rival triads came to pay their respects, a clear testament to the profound impact. An enduring legacy of a man who once ruled the streets of Hong Kong and the underworld of Europe. Legacy of a violent legend. Yik Chung's life is a dramatic arc of hardship, power, and downfall, an embodiment of the 20th century Triad era. From an orphan boy surviving famine to a feared double-flower red pole from ruling Amsterdam's Chinatown with an iron fist, to dying as a respected elder of the underworld, his story mirrors the rise and fall of Hong Kong's most notorious criminal empires. Though his actions left a bloody mark on history within the criminal world, he remains a symbol of ferocity, cunning, and unyielding will. Man who could bend entire cities to his rule, but ultimately could not escape the passage of time.